Got this truck from Colorado. Apparently the shop that it was towed from had just installed the fast fuel system. Let me look at it. Oh, they got it tucked in here. You know, they could have done a better job. They got the fuel hose hanging down here, didn't tie it up very good. But the engine was seized in it. And on the ticket, all it said was install fast fuel system and do an oil change. And the motor's locked up tight. I'm gonna find out what's going on.
He's only on this truck for 1,500 miles.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
wait a minute. So this Carfax thing, did he just buy it?
Yeah, he bought it fairly recently. He's only owned it for 1,500 miles. He's got a timeline built up here for you. So they did a fast system, test drove it, brought it back, says it doesn't start anymore.
A shop did?
Mm-hmm. They tore this thing apart. Can't turn the crank by hand anymore. Said the engine's locked up.
Oh, no. And this was where?
At another shop in Grand Junction.
Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the bill from that place. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, it's this one.
Okay, so what's the diagnosis?
They don't have one. They say it does. They say it needs a motor too.
Okay, upon vehicle arrival, vehicle is tuned and deleted from previous repair. Installed fast fuel system per installation instruction provided by manufacturer. Good for you. Vehicle starter was able to test drive around block. Parked in shop, check fluid levels, okay. Start up vehicle again, no longer more than test drive. Vehicle would not start. Check batteries, okay. Check for codes, lost all communication with vehicle modules. No starter engagement. Found fuse for starter blown. The starter motor failed. Well, if we lost communication, I'm wondering, okay, recheck for codes, now have communication, no codes. Confirm push button start system is functional. Remove transmission, bar engine over by hand, no change. Boy, these guys, geez, Louise. Removed aftermarket intake horn and check intake manifold for any parts that may have come loose and caused failure, none found. Remove injectors 1, 2, and 3 to bore scope engine and no concerns found. Recommend removal of cylinder head and oil pan to inspect for cause of failure. Oh man, how many miles are on it? It looks like less than 80,000?
Yeah.
78,000?
So yeah, 78.
I know a lot of times you all must, and I sure appreciate everybody out there watching us, how we do this every day, but we're not making this up. If the engine's seized up.
They told him no inclination, like there wasn't anything that led up to it. They didn't hear noise, no racket, no clicking, no knocking, nothing.
All right, so in my mind, this is what I think. If they introduce contamination when they put the fast fuel system, so let's just start with like, what could the fast fuel system do to cause this issue, okay? First off, I don't know how I'm assuming it drove in there and it was good, and let's just go talk to the guy.
Yeah.
Connor, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You're a fireman?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. You just purchased it this year? Why did we do the fast fuel? So that's my first, was that preventive? Thing ran fine, no problems, crank good, started every time, no problem.
Yes, sir. It was just preventative.
Okay.
Just trying to bulletproof it.
Okay.
Yep. So I did the install for the Banks Monster Ram, the cold air intake.
Okay.
And then I did that as well.
Gotcha.
Yep. So June 11th is when I was brought in for the fast oil change, transmission drain and fill.
I'm going to assume the engine's seized. I'm going to assume that the guy didn't go through all that nightmare that I just read through about pulling the tranny out, the starter, and thinking the starter was bad or whatever, and then realize
He was saying you couldn't get the crankshaft to turn, even with the barring tool.
that would be seized. So I'm gonna kind of discuss with you what I'm thinking it could be before we even look at it. Okay?
Okay.
When they put the fast fuel on it, it could be hydrolocked with fuel. That is a possibility. It's highly unlikely, but if it was, I'll just take it, it would be that maybe they introduced some dirt into the fuel system and it caused a problem. Short of that, I'll be shocked to find out how the fast system, I just want you to know, I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm going to be as honest as the sun coming up tomorrow. You can depend on it, about telling you what it is. It might not be anything to do with what they did.
Okay.
But that's the only thing I could think is if, putting the fast fuel system on there, it's real important that you kept super clean fuel. And if somehow they introduced some dirt while they were doing it in the lines and it went up into the system and caused an injector to fail or something and it just flooded the engine and hydrolocked it. But usually, if they let it sit for a day or two, it would have bled by the rings, and gone into the crankcase and kind of relieved itself, and then you could turn it over with a bar. So that's highly unlikely.
Okay.
If the engine is seized, I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a lot I can do except pull a motor out, put a motor in it. I mean, I can probably at that point give you some ideas of why it's seized, but I would only be able to do that after tear down and a thorough inspection.
Okay.
So, if you're okay with that, Donald will give you that. But I just wanted to have that kind of preliminary with you because every time a seized engine comes in here and it comes from like another shop, I know what you kind of are thinking, like, what'd those guys do to my truck?
Right.
Who wouldn't? You might not get the answer that you really were hoping for.
Okay.
But I will, whatever the answer I give to you, I would raise my hand in a court of law and tell you that's what it is.
Okay.
Okay?
I appreciate it.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And you brought this from Colorado to us? All the way from Colorado?
Grand Junction.
Wow, cool. Well, thank you very much. We'll take good care of you.
I'm gonna go grab some zip ties real fast. I want to hold up some of that stuff that's dangling so we don't have some issues.
It's not going to work to tow the truck in, dude.
I mean,
zip ties.
I could do a couple zip ties, but yeah, I see some stuff dangling in that hose. I just don't want it dragging the whole way, so.
Okay. Where's the rest of the stuff? In the bed of the truck? And did he just have the fast pump done just because he wanted it done?
Yeah, it's preventative.
So no issues bringing it in.
No. The same reason why he did the banks. He was doing upgrades to this thing to extend the life of it and had the fast system done.
Crap, dude. They left these fuel lines and stuff exposed.
Yeah. Oh crap.
Dude, this is like the King Ranch edition.
I mean, it's pretty nice. And like he was saying, it only has 78,000 miles on it.
Gosh.
Not crazy. And it seems like he likes it. He's been doing some work to it, so. But.
Whoa.
You want to
Poor
pop that
guy.
hood again?
In my mind, we're going to throw a wrench on that thing.
I probably
And
just
see
want
if
to try to
it's
turn it
seized.
over by hand first.
Yeah.
So I was looking over their paperwork, kind of double checking. Some decent documentation. He even has, where did it go? A little bit of his own timeline of what he's done and kind of what happened beforehand from there. So they are installing a fast system per installation instructions. I guess they say they're doing it how they are told to do it. Vehicle started and was able to test drive around the block, parked in shops, checked fluid levels, and then started the vehicle up again to do a longer, more thorough test drive, and the vehicle would not start. It says he lost communication with all modules, and it had no starter engagement. But they found a fuse for the starter was blown, replaced that, had good power and grounds to the starter, but then the starter was still not functional, and replaced the starter itself. Removed and replaced the starter, and it says now the starter will engage and start to crank engine, but will not turn over. Removed drive belt, bar engine, no change.
Which makes me think they put a
And it makes
wrench
you
on.
think that they put a wrench to try to manually turn it, but no change from, like, they just couldn't rotate it.
Well, then they removed the CP4 pump.
To bar engine, no change.
Right.
Removed transmission, bar engine. Over by hand, no change. Removed aftermarket intake horn. Check intake manifold for parts that may have come loose. Cause failure, none found. Removed injectors 1, 2, and 3 to boroscope engine, and no concerns found. I guess my baseline is, can I turn it over by hand?
We'll see, but they've left this. They've left the pump and stuff open to the elements.
Yeah,
for-
everything's
When was
open.
this? When?
June 11th?
Okay, so it's been open to the elements for 2 months. I worry if they just went down some crazy rabbit hole, but I hope they didn't cause more issues.
I don't know.
Well, we'll get the breaker bar here and see if we can put some umph to it. While Kyle's looking at that, let me show you in the trunk here. Okay. Boy, I'm curious at what's going on here because transmission's out, transfer case, part of his intake is out. The valve cover, which we can see, I'm assuming that there's at least 2 injectors here. Yeah, 2. And then the rocker arms that they pulled off This could be the biggest of big rabbit holes that somebody's gone down, or it could be just a really crazy issue.
I'm hoping I have everything to put this back together after we figure it out.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like too much of a mess.
Yeah. I did find, obviously, something a little fun, too. So they removed the belts to try to crank it over. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a necessity.
Right.
But they also left their belt tool in there.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
You're the proud new owner.
tensioner.
Yeah.
There's a little black bar. It's up against the fan shroud in there, so you get some
Maybe
bonus
that's
tools. Ooh, man, I'm not moving it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That thing does not want to turn.
Dude, I'm wondering, I mean, if it spun a bearing and seized, then...
And I can't go back or forth as far as I'm concerned. I was probably going to start loosening that bolt before I get that crank to turn.
I wonder if they pulled the oil filter and saw, like, if we got a bunch of metal in it, like it spun a bearing.
The filter doesn't really look to be touched. I mean, we could. They said they did, but we could try to stick a borescope in the open holes at this point. Start with something like that.
But we would just be able to only do these two.
Yeah.
We'd have to pull...
Further ejectors to look at the other ones.
Somebody's got to be punking us, dude.
And that's why it's like, it feels weird. And I'm like,
it does.
It doesn't
feel
have
weird.
tons of mileage. Seems like it took care of it. They put a fast system on, and then, as far as I'm concerned, I tried. That thing don't move. This was more or less just a fast system.
We've done a lot of fast systems,
Yeah.
and
I've never
seized
an engine. So, and without, I mean, that's the problem too, is how far torn down it is. It's like,
let's pull that filter too.
okay.
I'm curious. That's a tried and true, easy way for us to know, dude. If it's chuck full of metal,
Yeah.
I can go grab the borescope.
Okay. I'll get this air filter off real fast and pull this oil filter.
Okay, I'll be back.
Yeah, that filter's on there pretty tight. Couldn't quite get it through the wheel well.
Is it budging at all?
I mean, it's twisting, but. It's kind of low in there. Obviously, it's been sitting for a little bit, but we can go cut her open.
Dude, we might be dry as a bone.
I mean, it's possible they drained it too and didn't refill. Unless they did that, I mean, I think they did an oil change too. Did they do an oil change with the fast? I think for the paperwork they did. Unless that was the problem. They did a fast and an oil change and didn't fill the oil?
Did it fill the oil?
I mean,
dude,
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, did they? Because they left it so torn apart. Did they leave it empty before or after?
Dude, do you see any oil on that?
I don't see any oil in that dipstick. Like I said, the oil level in the filter's like down here.
Yeah, dude,
And obviously that is, I mean, it's been sitting, but that could be a newer filter.
bone dry.
You want to go grab the filter
little
cutter? Maybe I'll pull the drain plug real fast and just see what I see coming out of it too. I'll
Yeah.
grab a,
Yeah.
I think I got a mason jar somewhere I can catch some.
Okay.
Yep, nothing.
Dude, please tell me you got oil.
No. Drain plug was a little loose as well, but I think I may have found the issue though. I'm not 100% on these.
Oh my gosh.
It's completely pinched in there.
Oh yeah, dude, this engine ain't going anywhere.
But you can see it's pinched completely against the back wall and gear to gear, not meshed at all. if they left that tool in there and maybe it spun with it for a little bit and then missed a gear and completely seized the engine.
I mean, I could try to pry it out and then see if this thing spins, but it's just like a barring tool to me. That's, you know, put this in there, crank down your crank pulley bolts, get them to torque, pull that out, but then you forget to pull that out, you got a seized engine.
Dude, how...
And that's the thing, with what work they were doing, why was that even in there?
I can't imagine that the shop that was doing all this did that, because that's
kind of crazy.
Dude, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of questions that I don't have.
Howdy, sir. I got a fun one for you.
Howdy? Well, howdy to you. You got that Cheshire cat grin on your face, dude. That means...
It's an interesting one. So they came in, the trans and T-case are in the back of the truck.
What?
Injectors are out, valve cover's out, they got the belt off. This thing is torn down to find the cause of a seized engine, is from what I was reading in the paperwork.
I read that yesterday, and I was thinking...
And the verbiage and the words, it was a little interesting, but that's what I got from it too.
Mm-hmm. Have you put a bar on the front of this engine?
I did.
Holy smoke. I mean, the guys...
Yeah, everything.
I read that yesterday.
Yeah.
With the, when I was talking to the customer, and I was like, they pulled the tranny out to find out if the engine was seized. I'm like, these guys do not understand how a tranny works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you'll be even a little more surprised once I tell you what I found, though, too.
Oh no, dude.
Obviously, with how far torn down it is, my baseline, I did put a bar up front. I was cranking on it good, no movement.
Okay.
Either direction, either. It is stuck in one location. Miles was helping me out. We were thinking, let's double check some oil. It's kind of the first thing.
I'm gonna go ahead
He was pulling the dipstick as I was pulling the filter.
I want to look over here. Is this, what do you got here?
It's pretty low. I was thinking there wasn't tons of oil in there. Per their paperwork, I did think they did an oil change.
So you pull it, there's nothing?
There's nothing in there. So I went to pull the drain plug just to verify nothing or see if I can get a little sample. That's all I got out of it. There was nothing in the crankcase.
Wait a minute, dude.
So I was thinking, per their paperwork, they did an oil change with the fast. So I was down there, I was thinking, like, did they actually refill this thing? But while I was down there, I just happened to look at the bell housing because the trans is out, right?
You're just teasing the crap out of me, dude. Get to the freaking point.
There's a barring tool stuck between the flex plate and the rear cover. Pretty much this is Keehan's.
Yeah, I got it. They left it stuck in there?
See, okay, I'm speculating, but to me, all the work I've seen or what they've done, I don't have why would they even put a barring tool in there? For me, it's, I want to turn it over maybe to do torque converter bolts. I want to put it in there to hold it.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they did. So have you left it in there? Where's it at?
Dude, it's stuck.
It's stuck in there. Well, let's go. Let me look at it. Oh my gosh. Oh, Kyle, this is a freaking joke, dude. Oh, we're gonna get that out, dude. There's no doubt in my mind I'm gonna get that out. Good night, almighty, man. Well, they got a brand new starter in here.
Yep. Well, they said that they lost power to the starter and did a fuse and then did a starter.
I know. I read all that and I was like, okay, well, maybe it's. But here's their starter. They left their brand new starter hanging in there. I wonder what they ended up charging this guy for.
I mean, I hope they at least didn't charge him for all the removal crap. Oh, bam!
You got a bigger breaker bar than that, dude?
That's all I need.
Okay, that's it.
I turn them all over with this guy.
Nope, this engine is seized. They just left their barring tool in there. This motor's seized. Yep.
Let me try the other way just to see if it makes a difference.
Shoot, this would have turned out so nice for the guy. He would have been you're gonna just loosen the bolt. Yeah, it ain't going nowhere. So they just left their tool in there like they left their other tool. Well, so now we're back to there's no oil in the crankcase. And they started up and they said it ran. I mean, even on their notes.
It says they ran it and drove it afterwards.
Let's drop it down again. Let me look at this. Installed fast fuel system per installation instruction provided by manufacturer. Vehicle started, was able to test drive around the block. Parked in shop, checked fluid levels, okay. Which is weird, but okay.
See, that's my line. I didn't know
Start
if
the
they
vehicle up
drained it
again to
before or
do
after.
longer, more thorough test drive. Vehicle would not start. Check fluid levels, said it's okay. But they did, so they've got an oil change on here.
Yeah.
Gosh, he's got labor. Now, I wonder if they did it. Drain and refill transmission, they got all kinds of stuff on here, but they didn't charge any labor. I wonder if they waived it. Fast install, oil change and transmission drain and fill. Truck was towed from the shop on August the 11th. Bolt still left on dash, valve cover and intake, removed, transmission off. All components were still located. Yeah, that's the other thing. They've left, I noticed this, they've left the fuel system wide open to
Yeah.
contamination. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
At the pump, at the rail.
Yeah,
I mean, everything.
yeah.
And it's been, I think I was looking at June. It's been like 2 months.
Oh,
Probably
gee.
since, I mean, give or take.
Yeah.
So-
So let's. I'm going to tell you why me and Kyle are talking about this. A diesel fuel system has to be surgically clean. You've left it open to the environment for 2 months with the dust and dirt, blowing. He's towed it here from Colorado. Guys, if you're going to, let a customer know that if they're going to tow a car out of a shop, you got to cover up, plug up those open ports if you got a fuel system open. And they got this thing open everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the oil change.
Customer supplied the kit, and
So
then they
just
did the labor. So that's, yeah, they just charged him the labor to install it, and all this other stuff they ate. But according to this, that's where they got a problem. According to this, they didn't charge him for the oil change, but they got on here some notes. Drained, 12 quarts oil, filled 12 and a half, new filter, and the thing's out of oil. That's a problem. But zero. So did they zero charge him because this was a nightmare and they just wanted rid of it? He's obviously got a seized engine. I'll call him. I'll give him the news. I'll go through it with him. Connor, good morning. This is Dave at Dave's Auto.
Dave, how you doing?
I'm good. Did you make it back to Colorado okay?
I did, thank you.
Good. I hope I didn't call you too early. I got some news for you, and so first thing we did is pop the hood and look at it. We did find upon inspection that they left their boring tool. At first we thought, hey man, this guy, the reason the engine is seized is they left their boring tool. It's jammed in the engine. They didn't take it out. And when I say a boring tool, it looks like a small little gear thing, and it's what you turn the motor over with. And
they left that in the engine block?
they did. They left it in the engine block, and I've got a picture of it. I'll send it to you and show it to you. And Connor, this is like, this whole story is made for prime time, and I'm sorry that that's happening at your expense, but it gets a lot worse or better. It just depends on where you're at on this. And we thought, well, that's it. That's why it's froze up, is because it's jammed in there. So we took an air impact hammer, got the barring tool out, put a breaker bar on the front, and the engine is seized up. Before we did that, even before we found the barring tool, we thought, hey, let's check for oil. We of course, engine seized, pull the dipstick. That's the very first thing a mechanic could do. No oil on the dipstick. We're like, okay. And then we pulled the oil filter off, and the oil filter is half full of oil. And then we opened up the drain plug on the drain pan, and I didn't get a tablespoon of oil out of that engine.
Really?
I'm not making this up. And now, so this is where I got an issue. When I say I have an issue, me and you have an issue, meaning I'm on your side on this. As I look at the quote from your center, they charged you the labor. I guess you supplied the fast fuel system.
I did.
Yeah, and they charged you for the labor and some diesel fuel. And then let me read their notes. And you should have a copy of this, but if you gave me your copy, I'll read it to you. Install fast fuel system per installation instruction provided by manufacturer. Vehicle started, was able to test drive around block. Parked in shop, checked fluid levels. Okay. Start the vehicle up again to do longer, more thorough test drive. Vehicle would not start. Check batteries. Okay. And you still have a brand new starter hanging under this truck. So they left that starter on there, and it looks to me like they didn't charge you for it, but you didn't need it anyway, so good. But then on the second page of this invoice, they got an oil change on here. I guess she took it in there originally for transmission service, and they've zeroed the labor and the quantity, the thing. But on the notes on that, it says they drained 12 quarts of oil, filled with 12.5 quart of oil with new oil filter, and then he has that thing with, check fluid levels. I'm just saying, if they did the oil change, and by the notes here, it says they drained it, they filled it. But I'm telling you straight, flat out, man, there's no oil in that engine.
Right. And there's no way that it could have drained out in the time that we towed it from Grand Junction to Salt Lake.
Not unless you open up the drain plug and there's a trail of oil from Grand Junction to here,
Right.
on the freeway. I mean, can I say with the surety that someone else didn't drain the oil out between his shop and here? Absolutely not. I don't have hidden cameras on your vehicle. But it's suspect to me that when they're saying they drained it and they filled it, they checked it, but I'm telling you there's no oil in that engine. And your engine is seized, why does an engine seize? It's a very easy equation. A plus B equals lack of lubrication. Now, lack of lubrication could be from a failed oil pump, but basically it's no oil.
So you think they didn't fill it, tried to start it, and it just seized right there? And
I can tell you that you can probably run an engine with no oil in it. It depends on what the load is, but an engine will run for a minute or two without oil in it before it seizes, because it's got some oil film on stuff, and it takes a little bit of time. It depends on conditions, how hot, things like that. But
Okay.
I think they got it around the block, was able to test drive around block. I don't know how long the block was. Then when he shut it down, the heat and everything that had generated without lack of lubrication on those bearings. I'll know more when I tear that motor down by looking at them, But I'll bet they just got hotter than crap and they seized. And then when he went to start it again, they were like, we got no lubrication on here, we're done.
Yeah.
Where before, the force of the motor spinning around, it kind of kept going. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I got a pretty strong feeling that they made a major, and when I say a major mistake, I mean the quality of work on this thing, guys leaving their tools on it, leaving a fuel system open, I mean removing a tranny to see if an engine's seized. Tell me how it ended, the you picking up the truck.
I reached out to them for about a month without any success. They would not call me back. And finally, I drove down there. I've been without a vehicle for 2 months. So I finally had a day off where I could drive down there and talk to somebody in person. And, they were saying, we're not at fault. You can tow it out of here, but give us a couple hours to get everything squared away. Which I did. I gave them a couple hours. And then I couldn't be present for when they towed the vehicle out.
Had you known at that point that they had removed the transmission and the fuel, pulled fuel lines off of it and the belt and pulled the valve cover off? I mean, they got injector. Did you know that they were doing that? Did they tell you?
When this all had happened, they said they wanted to make it right and they wanted to do some investigation on it.
Uh-huh.
And so I basically given them a full month. And when I got a call from them it was July 10th, they said that the transmission was good and that they wanted to scope the engine, which was going to take 3 to 5 business days. And that's the point where I no longer had contact with them after that point. So when I hear transmission's good, I'm assuming that it's back on, the drive shaft's back on. I got no information when the vehicle was towed that the transmission was still off, that they had the valve cover exposed, they had bolts still left up on the cowl panel. It was a mess when I saw it being towed in. I was really upset.
Yeah. You went in, you weren't there when the tow truck picked it up, and so at that point, you were not aware at the disarray and the teardown that the vehicle had. You just thought you were getting your truck back with it not running.
Yep, I saw it parked outside. I didn't, go up and inspect it, which I should have. But it was outside of their shop, had been sitting in the elements for I don't know how long. I went and met the tow, and they didn't have any of my parts in there. I had to go pick them up the morning I brought the truck into you.
So you mean your tranny wasn't in the back of the truck?
No. They didn't text me until, they tried to text me after the tow was in transit to where it was being dropped off at. And it was at my buddy's place. Like
So
I
the-
didn't have a place to put it at.
So the 2 hours that they needed to get it together, they didn't have the sense of presence of mind to throw your drive line and your tranny and all that in the back of the truck? They made you come get it?
Yep.
Oh gosh, dude, I know people regular people like you, it must be very hard to trust a mechanic because of stories like this. So I want to apologize for our industry. It just hits me in the gut that people that call themselves a mechanic do this kind of stuff to people. I don't get it. Well, Connor, let me tell you what I think maybe we should do. I'm willing to do this for you. I'm willing to make a phone call on your behalf to that shop on a 3-way call. But it might be help if they understood from another shop that they have a real issue here. It might be able to ward off you spending money on, lawyers and the waiting of that. And that's just, I'm telling you, that can be a nightmare.
That would be fantastic. I would really appreciate your wisdom and being able to talk with them on, the language that you speak as a mechanic. That would be invaluable to me, absolutely.
Okay, so let me do this. Let me organize, get some more information so that I can do this right the first time. We'll circle back here in 30 minutes, okay?
Okay,
thank you.
sir.
Bye-bye. Before I call the customer back and before I call this shop and try to negotiate this, I'm trying to get my mind in a situation and my whole spirit, my whole body in a situation where I can be most helpful to both parties. Now, when you say both parties, a lot of you out there be like, pile on, kill the shop and things like that. I'm just not built like that, okay? I know the struggles that it is after 35 years in business. I know the struggles. I know the mistakes that we make unintentionally that can be so crushing. So how do I want to be treated in those situations? I want to give an opportunity, create a space where that shop owner can rise and learn from this. And perhaps someday, if he keeps rising above his mistakes, like we all need to do, we all make mistakes, he'll be a better human being. And I can have some super, super small part in that. That's like a win for me. So that's why that's the mindset I have now. Okay, so that I can identify myself, I'm Dave from Dave's Auto over here in Centerville, Utah.
Okay.
On the line is a gentleman named Connor. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help this gentleman, and I think you guys have been in business for a while. I know you know how it is when you're trying to help somebody and you've got a vehicle from another shop. Are you familiar enough with this to kind of walk me through like what happened?
Yeah, so the customer called in, made an appointment for us to install a fast fuel system, one that he provided. We said yes, because we've done multiple fast fuel systems without any issues.
Sure.
We installed the fast fuel system per the directions that came with the box, and we always double check online as well, make sure there's no changes. Installed it, did all the proper checks, went on test drive. It drove great, no issues. I'm not sure how many miles he put on it on that test drive, but it was driving good. We brought it back in the shop to check for leaks, shut it down, and then we started, and it would not start.
It looks like there was an oil change done on it.
Yes, there was during the fast.
Yeah, it says here that the drained 12 quarts, filled it up 12.5 quarts. What I'm wondering though is the engine has no oil in it.
Right, because we drained all the oil to check for metal.
Okay.
So we did drain all the oil. There was fresh oil. I know that because I was seeing it when they were draining it. That was one of the first things we were doing.
Okay. I guess I'll ask you that now. Did you have any metallic in that oil?
There was not.
Okay. Did you remove the oil filter and cut it open? Because the oil filter that's on it, is that the new one?
Yeah, I don't have records of them cutting open.
Okay.
I would assume it's the same one.
Okay. What I was thinking, now remember, I'm the surgeon that gets the patient delivered from another hospital, so to speak. So I'm just trying to get up to speed here, and I appreciate your help. That explains
Yeah, no, we want to help out too. So
yeah.
Whatever we can give you, definitely.
That explains to me, because at first I was like, whoa. They said that they filled it up with 12.5 quarts of oil and a new oil filter, but this thing was empty. So you drained the oil out and shipped it with obviously no oil in it, because why would you put other oil back in it?
Correct, we did not.
Yeah. Did the technician that drove it, was he asked like, hey, did you hear any noises weird on your test drive around the block after you did the fast? And I know that these things can just happen. I mean, and customers, they're like, well, it started when I brought it to you. And you're like, well, I know it started for me too. I got on the rack, but it's not starting now. And, so I understand that things happen under your watch that don't necessarily mean you did it. But do you have any records of you, like a video or any digital video of you draining that oil out, trying to inspect it for the fluid? Because I'm thinking it would be helpful if you have evidence that you actually had oil in it when you're trying to figure out, okay, why is it seized up now, and then you drained it out. Do you have any type of record of that?
No video of anything.
Now, I want to give you the disclosure that during that inspection, I'll be able to tell whether the thing ran dry. If I don't find any failure point that would cause lack of lubrication, like an oil pump failure or anything else, it's going to be hard not to say the lack of lubrication was the engine ran dry. So help me.
Right. No, I understand, and I know we've been scratching our head, and so has the owner.
Yeah.
Because I know he does have cameras in the shop to see if they're backdated that long, that we can pull some video.
That's I think is going to be in your best interest to dig up video of your tech actually draining the oil, then putting the oil back in it, then going on its test drive. If you find something that bolsters your case, please please help us and bring it forward if you would.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll speak with him, see if he has anything. And then we'll try and touch base again.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
All right, Dave. You too. Thanks, Connor. Bye.
Well, I did the best I could there. I at this point, I don't want to be confrontational because I don't have enough evidence to do that, and I won't have that evidence till I remove the engine and tear it down and kind of give you my analysis on the inspection. I wish I could. Yeah, at this point, that's about all I've got for you.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm having a hard time understanding how a 6.7 with 80,000 miles is going to seize without any polluting symptoms. I know stuff can happen, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Connor, you're thinking any sane man would think that. So you are correct. But I really want to tell you, I honor you that you said the last part of that. But things do happen. So that means that you're an honest guy, and I really like that. Again, we don't want to condemn anybody till we have the proper evidence, and I have to do further inspection for that. So.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Moments later.
As soon as I hung up, I sat here and I was like, okay, how could I really gather, what can I do besides tearing that motor down? And, I got to do that anyway, but here's another thing we can do to bolster your case or not bolster your case. We got to go with the evidence. And here's what I'm thinking. I got about a half a quart of oil in that oil filter, and he admitted that that's the same oil, that they didn't take the oil filter off. So that's the new oil filter, okay?
Yep.
And there's a little bit of oil in it, and honestly, there's a tablespoon that came out of the oil pan. But here's what we can do. We can send that oil in for analysis, and the oil analysis will tell us, is that new oil, or is it oil that looks like it's had, when's the last time you had an oil change done? That's how old was the oil that was in there? You got records from the last oil change? It looks like it was in January of this year, but okay, so you bought it in Prescott, huh?
I did.
Yeah, okay, 76,000 it's got. So it had, according to this, that oil is pretty new, but it's got 2,000 miles on it.
Yep.
So it should have some contaminants in it, like fuel and soot and some things like that, if it's got 2,000 miles on it. If it's new oil, it really wouldn't have anything in it. It'd be, pretty dang clean. We're going to take an oil sample of a little bit of oil, and it's not the end all, but it gives us one more a piece of evidence. Whether that works for you or not, I won't know till we get the results.
Okay. No, I think it'd be worthwhile.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Connor.
Yep, thank you, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so this is all that you drained out of the oil filter.
Yeah, plus a few drops out of the pan, but this was all the filter.
So we'll do an oil analysis kit to see, is it new?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll send this off for sample and report back on the results.
Okay, we're going to find out why this engine seized up. That's why the torque converter's still on it. It's locked up so bad I can't even rotate it.
Kind of smells.
A little bit, yeah. Kyle was saying that when he drained or opened the drain plug, there wasn't any oil in it.
No, it was like less than half a cup.
Yeah. I don't know if, they drained it. I don't know if we got the truck just on a tow bed.
I think I talked to the shop that did it, and he said, "Oh yeah, we changed the oil because there's an oil change on the ticket." He said, and then we drained it back out when it seized up to find out, is there something wrong? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took the oil that we had in it, the little bit of oil that we had in it, and I sent it out for testing. You see anything?
No, nothing crazy.
No.
Everything looks
No,
normal so far.
I think our problem's going to be in the bottom end.
That's what I'm thinking too.
That's good. Just let it be.
Okay.
I think that'll be a lot easier to deal with.
Okay.
So you can smell this, but you can see it here. See how black this rod is here? See how this isn't discolored? See how that's black? So that's the first one we're going to undo.
That looks like the only
It
one.
looks like that's the one that's seized. Oh yeah, that bearing's been around and around. Look, see how it's caught that. It spun that bearing right in that rod.
Yeah.
That bearing has just ran dry, and it ran dry really, really quick. Let's take a look. Let's see if the motor will turn over now.
Yes, sir.
Nope, nope.
Does not want to.
Let's take a look at a main. Let's
Okay.
just go ahead and pull a main right out of there.
Yes.
Assume you're starting to scrape. See the metal? See the metal that's been circulated in this engine? Pulled off that main bearing? This motor ran for a little bit, and then it just seized up. This motor was run dry. This motor was just ran dry, man. I'll bet you lunch. I'm thinking what they did is they put an oil filter on it, drained the thing, and somebody never freaking put oil in it. They did the fast fuel system, and they took it for a test drive around the block, which you could do that,
Yeah.
but then parked it, and it said, nah.
Don't want to do that again.
I'm done.
Yeah. Okay, so we got number 2. Usually a bearing will kind of sit nicely into the housing, but this bearing, like, you've got plenty of clearance here, so that's another sign that you know how this motor got really hot. That one looks okay. See how that one sits nicer? You don't really have a big clearance around the bearing. So I'm hoping that little bit might help us break free. Yeah, that was it. And I'm sure this bearing is probably going to be pretty bad, especially because it was stopping the rest of the motor of turning over. Yes. Oh wow, that housing looks fine, but that bearing definitely does not. Yeah, you can see they just about welded themselves together. Oh yeah, that is not a pretty bearing. Looks pretty and real shiny, but that is not what you want coming out of your motor. Very bad, lots of scores. You can just see flakes. That is all not stuff you want to see rolling around your motor.
Okay, so here's more evidence that I think the engine was just run without any oil in it. If it would have been run for a long time, I mean, look at the skirts of the pistons. They're clean. There's no scoring on them. They all look, I mean, they couldn't look any better. I think I have clear evidence here that somebody forgot to put oil in this motor after they changed the drained the oil and did the filter. I'll know for sure, I believe, when I get the oil analysis back on this. It's taken a little longer than I like, but I think that's going to be the linchpin in my analysis. The rest of the engine looks pristine. This thing just didn't have any oil pumping on the bearings. We found no problem when we disassembled the oil pump. The gears weren't shattered. Yeah, I'm pretty confident somebody made a big boo-boo here. Yeah, this pump, see, there's no evidence that this motor was like tearing itself apart for a long period of time, and it was that way when the guy brought it to the shop. Everything points to, hey, somebody changed the oil, didn't fill the oil back up, the oil pump didn't have any oil to pick up in the oil pump pickup tube, and the bearings just spun. The only oil they had on them was what was left there, and that's the first thing that got seized up, because that's where you need all your oil pressure on your bearings. I have no contaminants in the oil pump pickup. My oil pump pickup is clean. See, if this motor had been coming apart because of, failure or something like that, there'd be shrapnel everywhere, bearing matter. This is simply a dry bearing from no oil in the crankcase.
Connor, good morning. This is David. Dave's Auto.
Dave, how you doing?
Good. Listen, I wanted to kind of talk to you personally about what we found. Pulling it down, every rod bearing was seized on the crank, and a couple of the mains were scored pretty bad. But there is no other damage in that motor. When I say there's wear, but there's not any damage. And the way this crank, I've done so many motors in my life, and I've seen so much causes of failure that I'm as confident as I can be at this point, without any other evidence available to me, to say with a lot of assurity that this motor was started and ran dry. I don't think they put the oil back in it.
Yeah.
It's so, the crank, the way the bearings are all just grabbed, and there really is no lubrication on them. It's not like, it looks like they just were ran hot and dry, and when he parked it finally or turned the engine off and realized, and then started up the next morning, the damage had been done. Now,
Did you see any damage in the oil pump?
no, that oil pump's as clean as a whistle. And the pickup tube didn't have any debris in it. The motor has been maintained really well. The cylinder walls, the cross hatches, as clean as you want it. I mean, there's carbon buildup in, between the ringlands, but hello, welcome to diesels. But and it's not excessive. The thing just ran dry. But here's what I've done. I think I told you. The oil that we had, a little bit of oil in the oil filter, we sent it out for analysis. And it was black. I mean, it was black. So
Super dark in the video.
yeah, I mean that is the oil that we were able to get out of it in that little mason jar, and it wasn't. I mean, it was a half a little mason jar. That's what I'm trying to say. The crankshaft is so dry that I think they just started it up, drained the oil out of it, didn't have any oil to pump up through the mains and the rods he got far enough to park it again or something, and then. When he went to start again, there's not even a little bit of film on there now because it had cooked it off. I'm still waiting on, I told you that we were going to send the oil that we had out for analysis. They're backed up, so I do not have the results on that, but what I'm looking for is analysis that says, oh, this oil has, fuel in it. It's old oil. That's what I'm looking for, because they said that, that they drained new oil out of it. Well, then that would mean the oil that I got out of the oil filter that was anywhere in that engine, especially if, like they said, they drove it around the block, then I would have circulated all their new oil. I mean, when you do an oil change, you leave a little bit of dirty oil in an engine. It's impossible to completely get it all out.
Right.
But, you're talking in a 12-quart system, you're talking a quarter of a quart. Maybe 6 ounces of oil that you can't get out of that engine if you do a proper oil and filter change. So I'm thinking that this oil is going to come back and it's going to just be, oh yeah, that oil is old. It's got fuel in it. That oil's got mileage on it. And then that's the best evidence I can offer you is my analysis. And then the only other thing is been thinking about how to help you with this and also help the shop. I want to make that clear, you know. Probably the owner of this shop is not the guy that changed the oil. And sometimes guys make some really big mistakes. You know, it's terrible. And they might not have a system in place that allows those mistakes to kind of be brought forth in a manner that's easy for the technician. Let's say it that way. There might be some fear here why a person couldn't come forward. You know, I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't want to do that. But it seems to me that if we give them the proper evidence, I always think that there's good men out there running these small businesses. They would do the right thing. And I'm trying to use all the tools available that I have to help the situation. You're my customer, but I feel an obligation to the industry to help this shop do the right thing.
Yeah, so I was curious what you think would be the best course of action moving forward. Do you want to try and schedule another three-way call or kind of conference call? Do you want me to handle it?
That's a good question. I appreciate you asking it for my opinion, because it's your decisions, but I'll give you my consulting on it. If the guy, I don't know that the guy knows who I am, and what I mean by who I am, he might just think I'm another shop and that, you know, I'm just happen to be a guy you took your truck to. But then he might also know that I have, 6 million followers across the platforms, and I'm this guy that, does this. I've been doing this a long, long time, and that might be threatening to him. And I don't, how, my biggest concern, if I'm going to be a part of it, is, to be honest with you, is how can I feel comfortable with you, Connor, because, I don't have to give you really any bad news. I just got to give you the facts. Maybe call him up and feel him out, just you and him, and see if, would you like to talk to shop? Dave's happy to talk to you. And I'll be kid glove gentle with the guy. But I'll have to, tell the truth as I see it now. Now, if the gentleman can produce evidence that, hey, here's the video and here's the oil being drained back out of it, you can see it pouring out and all that. And then I think if I had an oil analysis, once that comes back, it would bolster his case, because, the oil analysis would say, yeah, that oil is brand spanking new.
Do you think I should wait until the oil analysis comes back before I speak with him to kind of have that confirming piece of evidence?
I think that's probably a good idea. I'm sure he's been doing some due diligence on his side, trying to figure out, I don't think he's thought this has gone away. I think that's probably the best advice that I could give the situation is the one you came up with. Let's just rock back on our heels, wait till the analysis comes back.
They had said that they were going to try and see if they could pull video footage from inside their shop to prove, do they have video evidence of them putting oil back in? I haven't heard from the shop. I was just curious if you have.
No.
So yep, I'll reach out to them, and if I get that footage, I'll send it to your shop, and we'll go from there.
Connor, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you, Dave.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we'll wait and see.
4 to 6 days later.
How you doing, sir?
Lake, good to talk to you, buddy.
Same here, man. Same here.
How are you?
Whew. Busy.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. But here's the situation. The gentleman had the truck towed to me from Colorado with a seized engine in it. And he had just had a shop put in a fast fuel system for him. And that's all they did, is a fast fuel system and an oil change, and it's on the ticket. They called him up. They said they drove around the block. It ran fine, no problem. They go to start up the next day. It wouldn't start. It wouldn't crank. And they start tearing into it. They said they then drained the new oil out of it, because when it came to me, it had no oil in it, just, like maybe a half a cup in the oil filter and a couple tablespoons coming out of the drain plug. And I said to the guy, are you sure that you put oil back in it? Because it did have a new oil filter on it. I said, are you sure you put new oil back in it? Because I said, this oil is pretty black. And I said, it looks to me like it's had more than, around the block drive on it. And maybe your guy drained the oil, put a filter on it, and then didn't put oil back in it. And of course, they're adamant, they're sure they didn't do that. But those bearings that are seized, they're just like so dry, dude, and there's no flake. Okay. It's like the motor went down instantly. And so what I really wanted to know with that oil analysis, and if maybe you can't give me that, does that oil have 20 miles on it or more than a couple thousand? Is that?
It looks like it's brand new.
It does. Okay. All right.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, then we're gonna have to. I got no answers now.
Sometimes it's because. So here's how I can tell the difference between the phosphorus and the zinc. That's how I can know.
Okay.
Because what happens is, as the oil is used, I guess it has more time on it.
Uh-huh.
The phosphorus levels tend to drop.
Okay.
In this case, you have slightly more phosphorus than you have zinc. That basically means the oil is brand new and fresh.
Okay. All right.
We normally see that over time that it starts to drop. It will go down and go under, and as long as it's within like 100 or so parts per million, it's fine. But when it drops well below the zinc level, then that's actually an indication that, hey, man, this stuff's really getting used up. You're kind of running out of the antiwear, because phosphorus is the main antiwear component. And I even wouldn't worry about the fuel dilution and the soot, because let's say they actually did what they said they're going to do. What they did an oil change, and they put in this fast system, and they drove it around the block. Well, if you just drive around the block, we both know it's going to put fuel in it.
Yeah.
And you're going to get some soot in there, right? That's what you're going to see.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
With that tiny little bit.
Yeah.
Now, the weird thing that I mentioned in the report is 12 parts per million iron is really high for one trip around the block, which just says, hey, I don't see any bearing material in there. I'll also say this. When the wear occurs suddenly and severe, like an engine just locking up out of nowhere.
Right. Uh-huh.
It will tend to make particles larger than can be detected with the standard analysis. This analysis can only see particles smaller than 10 microns. So you can't see it. Like, this is stuff in the oil you can't even see.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, I don't get to look at an engine that the bit where bearings are so just grabbed, swiped, and then it's embedded back in the bearing material in another spot. It's like this thing just went dry, was shut down, and it's seized.
Do you think they could have put a pre-filled filter on it, but then forgot to put oil in it? Literally, if they did an oil change and they didn't put oil back in it, but they put some oil in the filter and then put it on, that's exactly what you'd get.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So they filled up the oil filter with new oil, which, and on a Cummins, that's easy. That's super easy to do because it's hanging down like most oil filters do.
Yeah, and a lot of them have, depending on what kind of filter they're using. That is what they're told to do.
Yeah,
right? That's part of the process.
Around here. That's my process. You wouldn't believe it, Lake. I'll ask you about that. I'm an old boy, and just like you and your dad, I fill up every oil filter, for crying out loud, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Do you realize a lot of people are against that?
Oh, I know. That's the whole thing. How my whole YouTube thing blew up was because I made a video. I did an oil change on my daughter's car, and people were roasting me in the comments for free-filling the filter. I'm like, that's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Right? So I made a reply video to it. That one's got 4 million views.
All right. Well, Lake, now that makes sense because I can't figure. There's nothing in the pickup tube. This motor was not running when it was going down. This motor was like hot, shut it down. And the motor was at that point was like, okay, I'm now seized. With
the filter that you do have, is there any bearing material in the filter if you cut it open?
No.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, well, that's because when you say weird, it's because it didn't suck it. There was nothing to suck out of the pickup tube, and it was maybe just new oil in the filter.
Yeah.
But again, there's no there's no flake in the pan. There's no really? Shrapnel in the pickup tube. No, this engine, it's a real. If you saw the mains, it looks just like. And there's no oil on them, dude. There's no oil up in that engine.
That's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah. Lake, you're a good man. God bless you. Take care. I hope.
buddy.
Are we going to see you somewhere this year? Are you going to Vegas or Indianapolis?
I'll be at PRI, yeah.
Okay. Well, me and Miles will stop in and say howdy to you, buddy.
Sounds good, buddy. See
All
you
right.
then.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
That makes sense. So maybe, the best I can do here, maybe, the oil, according to my number one guy, Dr. Oil, Lake Speed Jr., is that the oil that we sent in for analysis is what we pulled out of that oil filter is new. And you heard the reason for that. Maybe I still have to lean towards, because of what I see, that the motor was ran dry. Maybe the oil was new, filled up the oil filter, put it on, and forgot to put oil in the engine. I think that's probably what happened. Where am I missing in my inspection and detection of the fault here? What could I do better that would help give more light to a good resolve, the honest, the correct resolve on this situation? I am really interested in that. So smarter people than me, I know you're out there like crazy. I read your comments. Give me some insight.
What's Connor?
Connor, good morning. This is Dave at Dave's Auto in Centerville.
Dave, how you doing?
I'm well. First off, Connor, I want to thank you. I know you're a fireman. You're a first responder. Today's a good day to thank the people that save our lives. So I want to tell you thank you for your service.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Listen, I got the oil change results back on your analysis, and at first I thought that's not good. But let me tell you what we found. We found that the oil is most likely very new. At first I was like, wow, I can't believe that engine actually had oil, new oil in it, because those bearings are so dry, and I don't have, I was really convinced that they forgot to put oil in it. And I just got off the phone with Lake Speed Jr., my oil guru, and he really is an oil guru. He said, Dave, you poured the oil. The only oil you had was a little bit of oil that was left in the oil filter. He said, that's what I analyzed. He said maybe what they did was, because I admit, it looks like a brand new oil filter, and we had no matter in the oil filter. Usually when an engine goes down, it'll get sucked up out of the pickup tube, through the oil pump, and gets pushed right to the oil filter. All engines are built that way. It goes from the sump up to the pump, then into the oil filter before it gets circulated around in a motor. So if a motor starts eating itself up, you're going to find it in the oil filter, in the element. That's what it's there for. And we found nothing in that oil filter element to indicate that motor was eating itself up. So Lake just went, Dave, he says, maybe what they did was they filled the oil filter up like most shops do, because you don't want to install an oil filter dry, and then they forgot to put oil down in the engine. So they did put new oil in the oil filter, but maybe they forgot to put it in the pan, and I think that's what happened. Did you get with the shop and see if they had any video or anything like that?
No, I tried to contact them, and they never reached back out to me.
So they're kind of going dark on you.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Okay. Well, would you mind if I call them and ask them if they have video?
No, that'd be perfect.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, Connor.
1 hour later.
Connor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're out till Monday next week. So, I don't know. They might have had a caller ID or something. I don't know. But I tell you what, why don't you do your best to kind of follow up with them next week. Get back to me, and we'll keep taking care of your truck and get the motor done and stuff. But let's see if we can get a call and I'll help you get some resolve on this.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate it, Dave. Thank you so much.
Connor, best of luck to you, and I hope we can help you out when you can finally get a hold of those guys.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, I tried. So we'll, I know everybody out there is going to be like, Dave, what happened? I guess I'll have to let you know.